So here's a problem we're going to work with. We're going to basically try to do some problem solving techniques on this problem right here, and it's called a lead fishing sinker has a mass of 51 grams. If the density of lead is 11.34 grams per centimeter cubed, what is the volume of the sinker? So the first step we want to do is read the problem. I know it sounds kind of basic, but yeah, that's about right. And then let's list down all of the given information with appropriate variables, or and the appropriate variables, because we don't know all of the information. For example, we have the mass, okay, 51 grams, and we have the density. So this is I'm doing step one up here. We have the mass, we have the density, and then here's the thing: is we have the volume, and I'm going to call that V in this case, and I'm going to put a question mark by it because I don't know what that is. All right, so the second step is to determine the method of solution. This problem requires us to calculate volume, and so we know that the equation for it is density is equal to mass over volume. We can basically decide that that's the equation that we want to use, and so basically we did step 3 as well. We'll use the density formula. Now what I want to do is I'm going to solve for, well, I'm going to solve for volume because that's what I'm looking for. All right, so I think that the book tells you to plug the numbers in already and then solve for volume. And that to me is quite annoying, and I don't want you to do it that way. I actually prefer you to solve it out variably first with only using letters. Really, it's because I'm lazy and I don't like writing everything down. If you plug those numbers in, you're going to have to keep writing those units down, keep writing those numbers down. It's actually easier to do algebra when you only use letters. So let's see, I want to solve for V. I want to get it all by itself. In order to isolate it, I'm going to need to solve for V and put it in the numerator because it doesn't help me to solve for V and have it stuck in the denominator. Here's what I mean. Sometimes what people would tell me, I'm going to show you the wrong way to do this. Sometimes what people would tell me is they said, well, if you want to get V all by itself, you need to get rid of this M. And in order to get rid of this M, you're going to divide by it. Divide is also the same as putting it in the denominator, but if I'm going to do that to one side, I have to do it to the other side. So I'm good there. Then this M cancels out and that M cancels out. And they said, okay, well, to get my answer, it's density over mass. And that would be my answer for volume. And yes, you kind of did things in the right way, but the problem is you didn't solve for V. What you solved for was 1 over V. Because by dividing both sides by M, you didn't really affect the V at all. And that V is in the denominator to begin with. So what we want to do is we want to get V all by itself. And not only did we want it all by itself, we want it in the numerator. So let me show you the right way to do it. D is equal to M over V. And I'm going to multiply both sides by V because I want to get it out of the denominator there. There we go. So I have volume times density is equal to mass. And in order to get rid of this density, I need to divide both sides by D. Because these guys will fight and they'll kill each other off. And that is the whole point of that. So that way I can get rid of that D. And I have V on the left-hand side all by itself. It's mass over density. Now, you can do this mathematically. Technically, this works. So let's go back to our wrong solution and then just say, well, if we invert both sides, I have M over D is equal to V over 1. And you see, hey, wait a second, that's the same exact answer as what you got here. And okay, that's all right. But here's the problem is that works, but it only works in this case because there is no addition and subtraction. If you have an addition and subtraction on this side and you just try to flip both sides over, it won't really work and you'll get yourself into a lot of trouble. So my suggestion is to really just take this path that I explained to you every time. So you have volume is equal to mass over density, and we solved it out. We know what our answer is. Volume is equal to mass over density. Now we just got to plug in the numbers. So my mass was 51.0 grams. And my density is 11.34. grams per centimeter cubed. Now, I can do the numbers and I'll plug it into my calculator, and my calculator spits out exactly 4.497. But what I have to also do is double check that my units work out. Now, volume is measured in some kind of length cubed. So let's see, if I'm just looking at just the units here, grams over grams per centimeter cubed. What do you do with a fraction over a fraction? Well, first of all, do you even see a fraction over a fraction? No, you don't. But what if I wrote this grams on top as grams over 1 divided by grams per centimeter cubed? Now I see a fraction divided by a fraction. Okay. And what you do with a fraction over a fraction is you take that fraction on the bottom, you reciprocate him, meaning you flip him upside down. So grams over 1 times centimeter cubed over grams, and then you multiply it by the thing on the numerator. So you take the fraction on the bottom, you flip it upside down, and you multiply it by the fraction on the numerator. And then you can just say, all right, well, grams on top cancels out with grams on the bottom, and I'm left with centimeter cubed. So the units, these units right here, is really just another name for centimeter cubed. And you throw your hands up and say, hallelujah, I am done. And then I would say, about that, you're not done yet. There's one last step that you have to take, and since we're doing chemistry and you need to learn this, we're going to be sticklers about this. There are 3 sig figs over here, and there are 4 sig figs over here. And what I did in my calculation, when I actually did the calculation, is all I did was I did division. So the rule is I need to cut my answer down to the least amount of sig figs that I have. And in this case, there's only 3 sig figs that I should report. So my answer is really, if I cut it off over here, I don't want to write 4.49 because there's that 7, which will round that 9 up and make it a 10. And so really I should write down 4.50 centimeter cubed as my answer. And I'm going to change that equal sign to a squiggly equal sign. And this is my answer.